Tom. As the title says, I decided to work on a sci-fi kind of theme, trying to build my version of a teleportation machine or time travel machine, whatever you want. It's not really important what we call it, but that's the kind of thing I'm aiming for. Recently I picked up a few bits and bobs from a scrap store. I found a lot of salvaged circuit board type parts, and I wanted to try and include one or two bits of it in this. I thought it'd make something that maybe looked like a control panel or a saver point of some sort. I think you'll get a better idea of what I mean as the video goes along. So what I'm doing here in this clip is I am starting to make a stone floor, and with this one in particular I wanted to keep the stonework very uneven, very rough kind of built, maybe something that you might see in a very old cellar or basement, that kind of thing. I didn't want to do anything too straight and too clean, so I just got chunks of the insulation board I've got, cut them down roughly into cubes, and then sliced them into various thickness pieces. To apply them, as you can see, it's just a bit of simple cheap PVA from the local pound shop, spread out onto the base and the pieces put into place. You can see in the middle of my base there that I've got a black square. I'm going to build the floor up around that square, and you'll see what that's for in a little while. So finally getting round to putting the bits in. I'm not going to use a standard brick formation. I'm just going to put bits in wherever they fit. I'm going to put intentionally poor fitting bits in, and then fill any gaps up with smaller pieces, like I say, to make it a rougher looking build. So now I've got the majority of the block work done on the floor. I'm just going over it and cutting smaller pieces to fill in any tiny gaps that were left. Just a simple progress of cutting the small bits and fitting them. They didn't have to be spot on or anything. I was quite happy for there to be small gaps. However, I do wish I'd used black card. I suddenly decided that I wanted the piece to have a rear wall, so I cut a piece of card to the correct size and marked it up where the bricks, if you like, needed to start. And the same with the floor. I just started applying glue and bits of insulation foam. Using exactly the same method, it was just put them wherever and then fill in the gaps afterwards. So that's the floor and back wall all blocked out. I wanted to use a random pattern and not have it clean and tidy or even. I wanted a lot of undulation and different shapes, different positions. And then jumping much further forward, you can see I've added two outer walls and given the whole thing a black base coat. As always, black paint with PVA. So now it's time to get a bit of colour on it. For this I'm using a mid-grey emulsion from a tester pot. and I'm going to basically go over the whole thing with this. I'm not going to be too neat with it as such. I'm quite happy if the black shows through in certain places. I like to try and use the black base coat as one of the colours in the stone. I think it just adds that little bit extra to it. So as you can see, I'm giving it a bit of an overbrush there, allowing the paint to not go between the stones as much as you might, but instead allowing the black to show through. So that's that coat of grey emulsion put over it, and I'm really quite happy with the outcome. A little bit patchy, thinner in places, thicker in others, but I think it's really come out quite well. The next step is to use very light grey emulsion, again out of a tester pot, and I've employed again the stippling method using a bit of sponge. I'm not very good at dry brushing, and I prefer this method over dry brushing. It works well for me, so it's what I go with. So basically, just using a bit of sponge and a small amount of paint on it, I just go over the whole thing, stippling away to give it a little bit more colour and a little bit more texture. And that's the result from the stippling. I'm really happy with it. There's a good few different tones in it, from black to almost white, and it's quite random, so I'm really pleased how it's turned out. I wanted to add some electrical looking elements into the diorama, so I built what reminds me of what we used to use in school, the Van de Graaff generators, I believe they were called. It's just basically a piece of cardboard tube with a wooden door handle glued to the top of it. I've given it a black base coat, and now I'm just applying a little bit of brass Citadel paint to the ball. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with this. I had a rough idea. To be honest, I don't do a lot of planning in my diorama builds. I just get a rough idea of what I want to do and make it up as I go along. But as I say, I'm just applying a coat of brass coloured paint to this, and the other one will get exactly the same treatment, and then we'll go from there. So off camera, I made a little door, just painted it silver, added a little ring for a handle, and I'm just gonna hot glue it into place. It's not a particularly interesting piece to build, so I didn't bother filming it. You all know what a door looks like and pretty much how to make them, so I didn't see the point in showing you it. I wanted to add some wiring, so I got a bit of electrical cable and stripped the copper wire out, I suppose to depict power lines. And what you see me doing now is I have a piece of the chipboard, or circuit board should I say, and I'm just gluing that onto the back wall. I know it's out of shot at the minute, I do apologise, but you will see it properly later on. This is what I wanted to show as a control panel or an electrical point of some sort, that kind of thing. And just in shot now you can see one of the generators that I built earlier, and I'm just about to apply with hot glue the copper wire that I stripped out. Okay, I've jumped a fair bit ahead here because the bits that I've done took me so long. It was so horribly fiddly that I just couldn't really edit it in any way to look interesting, if any of it does for that matter. But basically what I've done is I've added copper wire from each generator to a section in the middle to depict a laser beam of some sort, and then added chains to hold it all up in the air. I'm putting a plate in that raised part in the middle of the floor now, and underneath that is a single LED light. The yellowy coloured bit within that plate is actually sort of semi-transparent, and you'll see why in a sec, I think. Yep, I wanted it to light up. I've got this thing about putting lights on my dioramas at the minute. I really enjoy doing it. I think it puts a lot of character to the scene. And just to give you another quick look without my work light on to give you a better view of it, how it illuminates the scene quite nicely. So there you have it. There's the finished scene. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I think for a first attempt at a sci-fi kind of feel, I ain't done too bad. There's things I would do differently, things I'd change completely, but you know, I'm not 100% happy with it, but I'm certainly not completely disappointed with it. I enjoyed building it. I did a couple of new things, and you know, you gotta try it, you gotta learn. Anyway, that's it for this video. Not maybe as good as others I've done, but I hope you've enjoyed it all the same. So thanks for watching, and I will see you all again in my next video. Bye for now.